Welcome once again to the Orange Power Podcast, and we are excited to talk about some Cowgirl basketball. Casey Kendrick along with Coach Jacie Hoyt. And Coach, man, let's talk about the week that you're coming off of. Triple overtime win, Tech, a huge win over Iowa State, 6 wins in a row, first time since 2016. Your 100th win, 101st win. There's just so many positive things to talk about right now.
Cowgirl basketball is on the rise for sure. It's been an amazing week, an amazing season really, but I think this week has really just kind of, all snowballed into one really amazing ride for us.
Let's start in Lubbock, all right? We knew, and you and I had talked about it on this show, about what to expect and the emotions and what we were going to run into there, and it was senior day for them. It certainly did not disappoint. It was everything we thought it was going to be.
It was everything and more. Basically played a game and a half. No, it was really just one of those wins or really one of those games that very few people who are a part of basketball can say that they've ever been a part of. First of all, 3 overtimes is just insane. But the fact that we won it, man, we'll never forget it. It was crazy.
Only the second ever in Cowgirl history. The first one was to send the Cowgirls to their first ever Sweet 16 against Michigan State in a game, by the way, that was supposed to be at East Lansing, but because they had an issue with scheduling, that game got moved to Gallagher Arena. So then to have it the second time around and to be such a big ball game, emotional ball game, and the grit in this one, Coach, we've talked about grit and guts and depth and all of those things, but it was all on display in that one.
It was, probably I had a lot of favorite parts of that game because our players were phenomenal. All of them just stepped up and hit big shots or made big plays throughout. But I think the thing that sticks with me the most about that game that just told me about our team, really there's 2 things. So at the end of the second overtime, Texas Tech had 2 players who were just laying on the floor. And our team was in their huddle, and we saw it. And our kids pointed, and they said, they're done. Let's go. Let's finish this. We've got more in the tank. And so that was cool. And then one of my players, Mimi, at the end, she was just exhausted because a lot of them had to play so many minutes because we were in foul trouble, right? And she was one of those players. And she was also sick. Nobody knows that. I can say that now. She's better. But she was very sick. And she looked awful during a free throw, and there was about 3 minutes left, I think, and I looked at her, this was in the third overtime, and I said, do you want me to call a timeout? I've got timeouts, I can give you guys a break. And she said, no, coach, don't call it. They're more tired than we are. We're going to push through. And I was just like, wow, we've got a gutty, gritty team, and that's just ultimately, I think, what that game came down to.
That's a movie line, right?
It is.
That's just fantastic stuff right there. You score 55 in regulation. You score 37 in 37, whatever it was, roughly in the 15 minutes afterwards, including 16 in the third overtime, when you have 2 of your starters that have fouled out. Basketball sometimes, it's a simple game at times, and other times it's really hard to explain.
It is. Man, our kids just made really big plays down the stretch. I think the difference in the scoring for us in that third overtime was we were able to force some turnovers. And so we got some easy layups that we just could not get in the half court. So that was really big for us, just defensively getting those stops and turning that defense into offense. On a Gret, hits a really tough corner 3. Lexi Keys was phenomenal in really all the overtimes. Like I said, they all kind of had their own special moments and big plays.
If that game had been a loss or had been a 50-point win, I'm not sure you would have thought of your 100th game as so incredibly special. But being a triple overtime win, and I know the 100th win is more about a lot of the fans looking inward, but that's a heck of a milestone early on in your career.
Well, I had no idea that was even a thing, honestly. I think I heard you say it at the very end of the game. I overheard it on the radio, which is funny because I never hardly hear you. But I did hear that just during a timeout or I'm sorry, a free throw. But it was a game that was unforgettable. I'll never forget it. But I think I'm just happy that that win came with this team, because this team is just so special to me, and we've got so much to do still, and hopefully I have a lot more wins in my career. But it was just really an unforgettable game, and this team just has such a special place in my heart.
100th win, 5th win in a row at that point. 101, 6th in a row, came against a very, very good team, a terrific program, one that I know you have a lot of great respect in Iowa State. And that was, again, another one of those wins where you had to dig deep. You had to play very good team basketball, and it just flat out came together again.
This team is special. Man, they're motivated. They have a sense of urgency. They're fearless, and it just continues to come together for us at the right times. And you and I have talked about this all season long, but just the balance and the depth that we have, and the fact that we have so many weapons. So if one person is down, somebody else steps up, and ultimately that's what happened last week.
Well, and when you look at, let's just talk about that in greater detail. Give a fine example, okay? So Mimi Alnadas has 28 points against Texas Tech. Playing sick, really was phenomenal. She plays 22 minutes against Iowa State in a game in which she played probably the least minutes she's played all year long. And again, you and I have not talked as to why. Again, maybe she's trying to get healthy, whether it was a matchup, whatever, it doesn't matter. The emphasis of that, because that may sound like a negative, the emphasis is it gave her an opportunity to once again put her character on display. Because when Anna Gret hit that three at the end of the shot clock, I mean, I literally thought she was going to hit the rafters. Trinity Jackson's got her catching her midair. I mean, she was truly as elated as anybody else on that team.
She was, and I think that she really is kind of our heartbeat in terms of that, just the selflessness. And Mimi's been by my side for a while now. She came with me, and something that we prioritize is just winning. And we don't care what it looks like, as long as we win. That's the most important thing. And she embodies that like no one else that I've ever coached. I mean, that's hard to do. You can say it, and it's easy to do when you're the player making the big shot or scoring the points or getting the minutes. But she really is just that selfless, and I think that our whole team is that way. I think it also helps Anna Gret was the one who hit it, because my goodness, our team loves her, and she just has captured everyone's hearts. But yeah, just such a selfless group that we've got.
Again, and I asked you this in post game as well, but when you said that she has captured your team's heart, that was the way I felt about your team. I thought, man, that says so beautifully what your team has done. You guys have captured the fans' heart, because there are so many. I said this morning on a television show, another television show that I do. So this is the most lovable group. I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. This is the most lovable group, talented combination in my 28 years. It is amazing how good these kids are.
I couldn't agree more. And I've coached a lot of teams. I've been a part of a lot of teams, and it's just so special, because it's everyone from top to bottom. It's complete buy-in, it's complete selflessness. And this team is just a team that, in my opinion, and obviously I'm biased and you're probably a little biased, but if I took my coaching hat off and I said, I want to cheer for a team, I want to pick a team to root for, this team has every quality that I think a fan would want. First of all, they're really great at basketball. They play with passion, they play together. We've got a lot of really good players, the selflessness, the high energy, just all of it from top to bottom, and their character. I mean, they're just amazing kids, and I know I wake up every morning just so blessed to get to be a part of it, and I just want to be the best that I can be for them.
And again, that's a great place to talk about this team and talk about how fantastic they are. That's part of the character, part of the ride that you keep saying special. That's just part of it. But let's go back to the basketball part for a minute, just which kind of seemed anticlimactic after saying those incredible things. But your team went 8 of 12 from beyond the arc. You were 5 of 7 beyond the arc off the bench. You said in post game, I think, that I saw on OSU Max, by the way, but you have a luxury of depth that a lot of coaches don't have. 5 out of 7 beyond the arc off the bench. That there's not many coaches that can boast those kinds of numbers.
No, there's not. And I think that's why we sit in the conference where we do right now, because we have that. And it's just it's amazing to have those types of weapons coming off the bench. I mean, it's amazing to have those, period. But to have that depth that we do, and know that when we make those substitutions, or at the end of the game, you can have your bench players in and feel just as confident. That's a gift.
When Anna Gret let the 3 go, my thought was, because I didn't know if she got off clean enough, just tick the rim so that we can get an offensive rebound. She didn't touch the rim. She popped the bottom of the net. What on earth was going in your mind as you saw the elevation and that ball right on line?
So the thing about that is I didn't think that she was going to make it initially, because it was such a tough shot. But when she did, I was not surprised at all.
Yeah.
Because she's got ice in her veins. I mean, the kid is fearless. And, when you see the hours that your players put in outside of practice, that gives you a great sense of confidence in them. And between her and Leora especially, no one puts more time in. And no one has earned to take that shot or make that shot more than her. But we joke as a staff, it's like she's got this alter ego, because she really is the sweetest kid off the floor. But when it's game time and when the game is on the line, something comes across her, right? I mean, we saw it against Texas. We saw that tough shot that she made to kind of put the game away against Texas at home. We saw that on the road at Texas Tech with that corner 3. And then her doing that is just like, man, that's what she does. But can we talk about your call on that shot? Because I got that audio sent to me last night, and I'm not going to lie, I listened to it about 5 times. You hit an octave that I didn't know that you had. That's like Sports Center worthy, I think.
Oh my God, I don't know about that, but I do know this. I was so incredibly excited because, and again, maybe it's because it was on a Gret. Actually, you said something in postgame. This is really what you said, is you've got the luxury of having so many kids that can take that last shot, right? And you do. But she's a lovable kid. And she is, you're right, it was cool to see her do it. And I love what Taryn Milton was asked in postgame about, she had a turnover before that and missed a shot. And then you kick it out to her. She goes, I don't care what she's done. We see what she does in practice all the time. It doesn't matter what the sequence leading up to that is. We know she's going to make it, and she certainly did.
She did.
You got to love that the confidence that Taryn Milton has her. And there was one, maybe the other call, which again, there's so many things that happened, but she broke a couple of ankles and I said, you better go see the trainer and get them wrapped up again, because your ankles are broke. She literally put the ball on the deck so many times and created team effort, an incredible team win against a really good opponent. That's why that one's so special. Very special.
And, anyone who follows women's basketball knows the weight that Iowa State has carried traditionally. And that team in particular, I mean, they've been in a Sweet 16 together. That group is a very veteran squad. They've won a lot of games together. And the fact that we haven't even played a season together, and we're able to come together so quickly and get a win like that, it's just incredible. And I love the fact that it was in front of our fans. We had our football team there. That was really awesome. I think the thing that makes Oklahoma State so special is just this family atmosphere that we have. And it wasn't just our team winning that game last night. It was about Oklahoma State, and it was really powerful.
You're number 3 in the league. And listen, it's just a number right now, but it is from a number 9 spot preseason to number 3. Never given the respect to be able to be there. It's a great place to be, but still some work to be done, right?
We got a lot of work to do still. And, this group, from the time that we recruited them, talked about why they wanted to come here. That was laying in an unshakable foundation, but then also a group that's very hungry to go to the NCAA tournament, and not just go, but let's win. And so, that's really the mission that we're on. This was, these last couple of weeks have just been stepping stones in order to do what we want to do in the long run.
Taryn Milton was asked, what made you come to Oklahoma State? She said, I talked to Coach one time. The first time I talked to her, She said she made some guarantees, and I knew, not guarantees, she laid out a path, and she said she's all about her business. That was how she explained that conversation. And she said, up until now, 100% true, which was going to postseason for these kids, right? And that's very much on the radar now, which is fantastic. Never too early to talk about Bedlam. I know you got got Kansas this week, but for fans that need to help this team one more time, March 4th, 3 o'clock, or 2 o'clock rather, is looming large.
Yes. So I mentioned earlier, just the win that we just had was not just about our team, it was about Oklahoma State. And nothing is more about Oklahoma State than Bedlam.
Yeah.
For those who have been following, or maybe those who haven't, when we went there early in, I think it was January, late January, I can't remember, but they had a really great crowd. And I can honestly tell you, I don't know that they win that game without their crowd. They had about 9,000 people in the stands. And, what I would say to our fans is we're going to do everything we can to win that game. But we need you to do your part, and that's show up. And we want to win in the win column. Let's win in the attendance column. Let's say that they had their biggest attendance in the last 15 years, I believe is what I was told. So let's do it back to them. They have 9,000. Let's have 9,001. That's how I look at it, and I think that we can do it.
Awesome. Good stuff. Best of luck against Kansas this week, and we look forward to seeing you back here next week.
Thank you.
Good job. All right, that's going to wrap it up. We'll see you guys next time. For Coach Jacie Hoyt, I'm Casey Kendrick. We'll see you on the Orange Power Podcast.